Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds like one of those wild internet myths, right? But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 1996 1-cent coin, yes, the kind you've probably ignored hundreds of times, has been linked to jaw-dropping collector interest and values that have stunned even seasoned experts? This tiny copper coin, minted in Denver, carries secrets that most people walk past every single day, and hidden within those secrets are stories of rare minting quirks, overlooked errors, and unbelievable auction buzz that could completely change how you look at your spare change forever, because the truth is, this is not just another penny, this is a potential treasure hiding in plain sight. And what we're about to uncover might make you rethink every coin you've ever spent without a second glance. And before we go deeper, stick with me till the end, because the next coins we'll uncover later in this journey get even more mysterious, with stories that collectors don't openly talk about and details that might genuinely shock you. But first, let's unlock the full story behind this 1996 1-cent coin and why it has quietly become one of the most talked about modern pennies among serious collectors. Because within the first moments of understanding this coin, you need to hear this clearly. In the right condition, with the right rare characteristics, examples of this coin have sparked valuations and private collector estimates reaching up to around $60,000, and while not every coin will reach that level, the mere possibility has created a frenzy among collectors who are now digging through jars, drawers, and old collections hoping to find that one perfect piece that changes everything. And here's where things get interesting. The year 1996 might seem like just another point in time, but in the world of coin production, it was part of a period where minting technology was transitioning, and with that transition came inconsistencies, slight misalignments, and subtle errors that most people would never notice, but collectors, they live for these imperfections, because imperfections in coins often mean uniqueness, and uniqueness means value, especially when it comes to coins minted at the Denver Mint, where the D mint mark sits quietly under the date, almost like a hidden signature that only trained eyes pay attention to. And during 1996, the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies, flooding circulation with what looked like identical coins. But here's the twist: not all of them were truly identical. Some carried microscopic doubling in the lettering, others had off-center strikes, and a rare few showed die cracks or subtle planchet errors that transformed them from everyday currency into collectible anomalies. And imagine this: someone empties their pocket after a long day, tosses a handful of coins on the table, and among them is a 1996 penny with a faint doubling on the word Liberty, or a slightly shifted design. They don't notice it, they don't care, and they spend it the next day, completely unaware that collectors would have paid hundreds or even thousands just to examine it. This is exactly how rare coins slip through the cracks of everyday life, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize their true worth. And that's why this coin has gained so much attention in recent years, not because every piece is valuable, but because a small number of them are extraordinary. And the hunt for those extraordinary pieces has turned ordinary people into accidental treasure hunters. And here's another layer that makes this coin even more fascinating: condition plays a massive role. We're talking about coins graded in near-perfect mint state, where even the tiniest scratch can dramatically change the value. Collectors look for coins that appear almost untouched by time, coins that somehow survive decades without wear, without damage, without losing their original luster. And when a 1996 penny like that surfaces, especially with a rare error, it becomes a centerpiece in auctions and private sales, sometimes sparking bidding wars that no one saw coming, and you might be wondering, how does something so small create such massive excitement? The answer lies in rarity combined with storytelling. Every rare coin tells a story of how it was made, how it escaped detection, how it traveled through years of circulation unnoticed, and how it was finally discovered. And collectors don't just buy coins, they buy those stories, they buy the thrill of owning something that almost no one else has, and that's exactly why the 1996 D penny continues to gain attention, because its story is still being written, with new discoveries happening even today. And here's something that should really make you pause: many of these coins are still out there, sitting in jars, hidden in old piggy banks, or mixed in with loose change that people never bother to check carefully, which means the next time you come across a penny, especially in 1996 D, you might want to take a closer look, because what seems ordinary could be anything but. And while you're thinking about that, remember this: we're just getting started, because coming up next are coins that push the boundaries of what most people believe is possible in the world of pocket change. Coins with stories even more unbelievable, mysteries even deeper, and details that collectors would do almost anything to uncover. So don't go anywhere, because if you thought this 1996 D 1-cent coin was surprising, what's coming next might completely blow your mind. Next, 2001 1-cent USA coin. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over, a coin you've probably seen 1,000 times without ever thinking twice, yet hidden within that ordinary appearance is a story that could flip everything you thought you knew about modern pennies. Because the 2001 1-cent coin is one of those pieces that quietly slipped through everyday life while carrying the kind of potential that makes collectors lean in closer. And here's where things take a sharp turn. While most of these coins are worth exactly what you think, a single cent, certain rare examples have ignited intense collector demand, with estimated values climbing toward an astonishing $70,000 under the right conditions. And that's not hype, that's the reality of how powerful rarity, condition, and minting quirks can become when they collide at just the right moment. And if you're still here from the last coin, you already know the pattern. The real value isn't in the obvious, it's in the details most people overlook. And trust me, you're going to want to stay locked in, because what we're uncovering right now only gets more unbelievable the deeper we go. And even though this is the second coin, the story is far from slowing down. Because the 2001 penny represents a fascinating moment in U.S. mint history, where high-speed production met subtle inconsistencies that created the perfect environment for rare variations to emerge unnoticed. Billions of coins were struck that year across different mints, but among them were a handful that didn't come out quite right. And in the world of coin collecting, not quite right is exactly what you want, because that's where the magic lives. Collectors have reported examples with unusual die deterioration, faint doubling in key lettering, and even slight misalignments that give the design a shifted appearance. And while these might sound like tiny flaws, they are exactly the kind of characteristics that separate a spendable coin from a collectible one. And here's the part that really hooks people: these rare variations don't announce themselves, they don't shine differently, they don't look obviously valuable at first glance, they blend in perfectly with ordinary coins, which means the only thing standing between you and a potential discovery is attention to detail. And imagine this scenario: someone is counting loose change late at night, maybe clearing out a drawer, maybe just bored. And they come across a 2001 penny that looks slightly off. The lettering isn't perfectly crisp, the design feels just a little misaligned. They almost ignore it, almost toss it aside, but something makes them pause. They look closer, maybe even compare it to another coin, and suddenly they realize they might be holding something rare. That moment, that exact moment, is what every collector lives for. And it's happening more often than you think, because coins like this are still circulating. Still being overlooked, still slipping through the cracks of everyday transactions, and that's why the 2001 penny has become such a quiet obsession in the collecting world. It's not just about the value, it's about the possibility, the idea that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon one of these rare pieces without even trying. And here's another layer that makes this coin even more intriguing. The condition factor is absolutely brutal. We're talking about coins that need to be nearly flawless. To reach those high valuations, coins that somehow avoided scratches, wear, and damage for over 2 decades, which sounds unlikely, but it happens, and when it does, collectors take notice immediately, especially when those pristine surfaces are paired with a rare minting anomaly. That combination is like lightning in a bottle. And it's exactly why certain 2001 pennies have been quietly exchanged among collectors at prices that would make most people do a double take, and while auctions for these coins don't always make headlines, the private collector market tells a different story, one filled with negotiations, excitement, and sometimes even disbelief at how something so small can carry so much weight. And here's the kicker. Most people still don't check their pennies, they still treat them like background noise, like something too insignificant to matter, and that mindset is exactly why coins like this continue to slip by unnoticed, which brings us back to you, because if you're watching this, you're already ahead of most people, you're already paying attention, and that alone puts you in a completely different position. And while you're thinking about that, don't forget, we're not done yet, because even beyond this coin, there are more stories waiting, more mysteries hidden in plain sight, and more coins that take everything we've talked about and push it even further, so stay with me. Because if you thought the 2001 1-cent coin was surprising, what comes next might just be the one that changes how you see every single coin you touch forever.